In exercise number 3, we're going to start adding some context to these chromatic embellishments. So the first progression we're going to look at is the 2-5 progression, or one of the most common progressions we see in jazz standards. We'll later apply this progression to the blues and show you how the jazz blues differs from a traditional blues progression. So let's look at the 2-5 really quick. Now the 2 and 5, often seen as Roman numerals, represent scale degrees. So in the key of C, our second note of the C major scale is D. And if we build up in thirds off that note, we get our 2-7 chord, which is D minor 7. Now if we look at the fifth note of the C major scale, we have G, and if we build up in thirds off of that, we get the 5 chord with the G7. So our standard 2-5 progression is D minor 7, G7. And then it often resolves to a C major chord, or in the context of our blues, which we'll look at later, it would go to a dominant 7 chord. Now we'll talk more about the theory behind this later and how it applies to standards and the blues. But for now, let's just practice playing and singing over this progression. If you haven't seen my video on how to construct and use shell voicings or bud-pal voicings, please watch it before continuing with this lesson. The voicings I may be using here in this demonstration may not exactly follow the voicings that I've written out for the sheet music. So the 2-5 progression we'll be looking at today is going to happen over the context of one measure. So we'll have 2 beats for each chord. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we'll approach the first and third notes of each chord by a half step. So we've got the root and third of D minor 7, or our 2 chord, and then the root and third of our G7, or our 5 chord. And here's what it sounds like when we approach each of them by a half step. Here's what it would sound like in the key of F, so G minor to C7. So the first step to practicing these chromatic embellishments over 2-5s is to simply play through the progression. I always recommend playing slow with the metronome. So I've got my metronome here on my phone, and I'm going to set it at 35 beats per minute. The second step is to sing and play through all 12 keys. So, like I've said before, you don't have to be a professional singer to sing through these exercises. It's more about hearing the pitches as accurately as you can and trying to sing on pitch as accurately as you can. And that's why we practice slow with the metronome. Continue that through all 12 keys. The third step of this exercise is to sing and ghost the notes in the right hand, meaning press down the notes but don't let a sound come out. This creates a really strong connection between the aural, or the hearing of the notes, and the physical action of playing the notes. Da, 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 Continue that through all 12 keys. The final step is to sing through the exercise in all 12 keys without the aid of your instrument. Da, 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 da. that through all 12 keys. And once you're able to sing the exercise in all 12 keys away from your instrument, you're ready to move on to the next exercise. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know if you have any questions by commenting below or sending me an email via my website, tjjazzpiano.com.